My friends, give immigrants a break, won't you? Cut them some slack. Give them a chance. Come on. People aren't born knowing things. They have to learn them. They come to America or a country over in Europe. They don't know what you know. You got to give them some slack. For example, all right, you want an example? I'll give you one. This is from Breitbart. A migrant suspected of raping and sexually abusing a much younger girl claims he didn't know it was illegal in Sweden because no one had told him. The suspected sexual abuse took place in April of this year at a family home with the young girl whose exact age has not been revealed. It's alleged she was forced to have sex with the supposedly 17-year-old migrant, newspaper Local Dingingen reports. When questioned, the migrant reportedly admitted that he had had sex with the young girl, but said it had not been a crime. It was just something that, quote, happened between two children, unquote. So he raped a child, and he expects to be let off because, after all, no one told him it was a crime. What they don't tell you in these few paragraphs is that this was a Muslim migrant. What they also don't tell you is that this story is far from unique. Sexual molestation of women, children, men, doesn't matter, animals, anything that'll hold still long enough, is going on wherever you find Muslim migrants, even when you find Muslims in Muslim countries. So they can be expected to come to your country, your town, your city, maybe even your street, and do the most horrifying of things and never expect to be brought to justice, because after all, how did they know that raping children was illegal in this country? You want to know why I yell on the radio? Because a combination of very powerful and greedy people, and let's face it, very stupid people, are working together to inundate Western countries with the scum of the earth coming from Muslim countries in the Middle East. Whether it's murder, rape, petty crime, drunk driving, acts of terror, we are importing all manner of woe. And it drives me crazy because these are tragedies that didn't have to happen. Didn't have to happen. Item from the Rutherford Institute. Dateline DC. The U.S. Supreme Court has rejected the government's claim that it can censor speech it considers distasteful, striking down as unconstitutional a federal statute that allows the government to reject trademark applications for immoral or scandalous brand names. In its ruling, Iancu versus Brunetti, the Supreme Court found the government violated the First Amendment when the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office rejected as immoral or scandalous a trademark application for a streetwear brand called FUCT, an acronym for Friends You Can Trust, that serves as artist Eric Brunetti's commentary on the need to challenge government authority and societal assumptions. Attorneys for the Rutherford Institute had filed an amicus brief challenging the statute on the grounds that it violates the most fundamental First Amendment guarantees by investing the government with the power to act as an arbiter of good taste and censor speech it finds offensive or with which it disagrees. Stop. Wrong. Now, my friends, you know I have a lot of respect for John Whitehead at the Rutherford Institute. You know that I am a civil libertarian, and you know that I want the government off the people's backs. But you may have heard the term on this show once or twice, garbagification of America. America, more than ever, loves to wallow in the muck and the filth. So if the idea was to put out a brand, an outfit, a logo, with a word that looks like, you know the word I'm talking about, looks like the F word, well, isn't that offensive? Didn't the Supreme Court rule way back in the 70s that pornography could be limited, free speech could be limited through pornographic movies because it's just offensive. It's offensive speech. Now, you know, in this day and age, you say the wrong word, you will be blasted. You got to say the N word, right? You can't say the full word, which I have on this show, by the way, because I'm a defender of free speech. But the garbagification of America, which I speak about at length, all the trash that we see on television and the movies and that we hear in music, all going to lower, to make more boorish, more callous American society. And the last thing we need are simulated obscenities on clothing and other products, because they are immoral and scandalous, and frankly, we don't need any more immorality or scandal. Now, the artist who did this, Eric Brunetti, probably thinks he's pretty cool, probably hopes this will get him some dates, make him famous, maybe make $1 million. My question for Eric, and Eric is free to call into the show if he wants, what about the children seeing these words? When you turn on a radio today, you'll hear a song that includes obscenities, and for a split second, an eighth of a second, there'll be silence. But from the context, you know exactly what word they're using, and children are listening to this. I think the Supreme Court made a mistake. I think when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail, and when you are a lawyer or a judge, everything looks like a statute. And sometimes what gets lost is the moral dimension. That's one of the reasons I'm on the air. To point the finger at America and say, stop, because you've gone too far. And this ruling by the Supreme Court goes too far. It's Monday, and it's Real Truth. I am Howard Real, and we'll be right back.
Hiring a realtor of a big corporation who outsources their jobs and pays little to no taxes, ask yourself, what do you really want in a realtor? You need a realtor who is honest and has integrity, a realtor who is focused on the client's bottom line, not the realtor's bottom line, who provides personable, over-the-top service before, during, and after the transaction. You want a realtor that knows how to market your property. Hi, I'm James Morgan, a realtor with Grisham & Associates, LLC. I am your Colorado real estate specialist. Land deals, mountain cabins, or urban dwellings, I've got you covered. For the first-time home buyer, we will make it the best experience. If you are looking to move up or downsizing, we will do better than your last transaction. Call me today at 720-203-0731 or visit coloradoproperties.online. Let me do a great job for you.
You can buy gold just about anywhere in the world from all kinds of different dealers. So why do you use the Patriot Trading Group?
20 years of service, just like that. A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, just like that. Lowest prices, just like that. No solicitation, just like that. Buying or selling, just like that.
For all your gold and silver needs, call the Patriot Trading Group at 800-951-0592, just like that.
Square Root Construction is pleased to help support the American Freedom Network by offering a high-quality custom deck construction services. Established in 1990, Square Root Construction has been building high-quality decks and other types of outdoor living projects all along the northern Front Range. We are licensed, insured, and have all the experience, knowledge, and skills to help you create the outdoor living oasis of your dreams. For your free consultation and no-obligation quote, give Doug a call at 303-517-8742 or visit us on the web at squarerootconstruction.com.
All right, now, folks, remember what we just talked about. You cannot silence free speech, even when people are using simulated obscenities, like a word that looks just like the F word. You're not allowed to silence free speech, except, of course, when you are. Like the Democrats are doing, or trying to do. The Kellyanne Conway advisor to the president, they are doing their best. No, they're not legislating. They're not finding solutions to the problems facing America. They're not representing their constituents. They're trying to silence Kellyanne Conway, because what else do you expect them to do? And by the way, if you're a Democrat voter and you sent Democrats to Congress hoping that they would represent you and do good things for the country, well, you are either simple or naive or just plain stupid, because that's not what Democrats do anymore. Now they try and silence people. Here's Good Morning America on Fox News. Kellyanne Conway is here to tell how the Democrats are trying to put virtual tape over her mouth. Here we go.
Bringing Kellyanne Conway, counselor to the President of the United States.
Yeah, there's a humanitarian crisis, and the Democrats don't give a rat's ass. Be honest. The Democrats are looking to use the misery of these people as a political cudgel. They're hoping it will springboard them into success in 2020. They don't care about the people coming over the border, frankly, any more than they care about you or me. The Democrats care about the Democrat Party and nothing more. As far as what happens to children once they cross our border, as far as I'm concerned, it's a non-issue. They don't cross our border, period. What happens to them when we turn them back? Well, I assume if they're children, they came about the normal way and they've got parents. It's the parents' responsibility. Why are the parents not with the child? Why did the parents send them to enter another country illegally? It devolves upon the parents. And if we made that our policy and stuck to it and enforced it, we would have fewer tragic stories among these children. So the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi says, will not fund any real attempts to seal our border. They want the border open. The Democrats want the border open. They want drugs flowing into the country. They actually do want these things. They want human trafficking to continue. They want hundreds of thousands, millions of illegals to come here and go on welfare, but that's okay because you can pay for them. You can pay for their food and their housing, and you can pay for their medical, and you can give them free driver's licenses and free college education. You can give them free everything. That's the Democrats. Now, if that strikes you as a good policy, well, frankly, you're a numbskull. If it strikes you as something we better stop, well, okay, get busy working to elect Republicans, working to support the president, working to get Democrats out of elected positions at all levels of government.
Call from the speaker.
Yeah, by the way, Nancy, I'm speaking directly to Nancy Pelosi. She and I have an interesting relationship. By the way, Nan, I thought there was no crisis at the border. So for the past several months, when Pelosi and the other Democrats have been saying there's no crisis at the border, is it that they were lying to the American people or that they are thoroughly brainless and clueless? Well, the choice is actually C, all of the above.
And why are you
And by the way, hang on, Kellyanne, just 1 second. Let's say you're listening to me right now and you're a Democrat. Okay, first of all, I admire you for your courage. Let's say you feel we have a humanitarian debt we have to pay to these children and adults coming across the border, okay? For a second, I mean, we don't really, but let's say you believe we do. And that's why you vote Democrat, because after all, everybody knows Democrats are humanitarian angels. They're loving, sweet, sensitive people, while Republicans are Nazis. Yes, I get all that. Right, okay. I said it so you don't have to, so please don't. So where is all that humanitarian niceness from the Democrats? If they think they can score political points, they cut off the money, and they leave the people coming across the border to suffer. Is that the humanitarian Democrat Party that you're supporting and voting for? It is? You really are a knucklehead.
admit that we have a crisis? Why aren't they going to go all the way? They know that these laws are broken. Congress in this country makes the laws. The president executes the laws. The judiciary interprets the laws. They've got to come to the table and do the full job, not just a half job.
Okay. The president giving them 2 weeks, giving Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats 2 weeks, but also with Iran pulling back what he was going to do, which was to strike back after they took down our drone. Now he's saying, I'm going to impose more sanctions, hoping that that might bring them to the table. What do you think?
Well, the president said very clearly on a different network yesterday that he doesn't want war.
Stop. My friends, as hard as it is to believe, I've been accused of drinking the Kool-Aid of the Trump administration. Whatever Trump says, I love. Well, that's not the case. And I've talked on this show at length about several different areas with which I respectfully disagree with the president, and this is one. The president does not want war with Iran. Well, first of all, let's define our terms. If war means putting American soldiers and their boots on the ground, no, I don't want that either. I don't want to put any American servicemen and women in harm's way. No need. But if we simply define war as destroying the enemy, you bet your ass I want to declare war on Iran. This is a country that for decades and decades and decades has been the number one funding source for terrorists, has killed Americans, worked against America. They're developing a nuclear program. There was a nuclear deal that Donald Trump canceled. They were cheating and lying on the deal. They had no intention of ever stopping putting together a nuclear program which would have given them nuclear weapons after 10 years, even if they abided by it. They have said publicly, openly, proudly, boastfully that when they have nukes, they're going to kill everybody in Israel. And if they can reach America, they're going to destroy America too. So yeah, I want Iran gone, or at least large chunks of it, because we accomplished three things. First of all, we're combating evil, which is what God wants. I hate to be a name dropper. Number two, we're putting an end to their ambitions towards nuclear jihad. Number three is we're sending a loud and clear message to the rest of the Muslim world. You may stop now, because if you think you're going to conquer the world in the name of Islam, we're going to reduce you to atoms and molecules. So I respectfully disagree with the president. He asked over the weekend whether it was worth killing 150 people because they shot down a $130 million drone. Well, first of all, I'm expecting we're going to be reimbursed the cost of the drone. Second, I don't think we should kill 150 million people in Iran. I think we should kill a hell of a lot more than that and put an end to their nuclear jihad ambitions forever.
He doesn't want this to escalate. He would like to negotiate with Iran, but so far Tehran seems unwilling. But those sanctions will continue. We are now a large oil exporter, energy exporter. We can't go on and have nuclear blackmail and disruption of global oil markets and the reign of terror on their own innocent people that we see from Iran. So this president will continue to want to negotiate, but at the same time remain tough. It is he who undid the deal, the terrible deal the last president put into place, which resulted in the U.S. forking over pallets of cash, billions of dollars, and a really bad deal. And we also know that Israel is our best friend in that region, and we're always looking out for Israel's interests as well. Ambassador Bolton, our NSC director, has been there this weekend.
Meanwhile, Kellyanne, you were in the eye of the storm last week or a week ago, and saw they're all blending together. As some ethics committee came out and said you have multiple violations of the Hatch Act, saying that you're mixing politics and government business. And they're threatening, if you don't come testify, to subpoena you. Where does that stand? What do you say about it?
Well, it'd be good if everybody had a quick tutorial on the Hatch Act, what it is and what it is not. It's not even clear to us here at the White House, according to White House counsel, that the Hatch Act applies to assistance to the president. It's not even clear what the Hatch Act allows. I would be the first, we think I'd be the first member of the West Wing to ever be hauled in front of Congress to talk about the Hatch Act. The Hatch Act means that you can't advocate for or against the election of an individual. And if I'm talking about the failures of Obama-Biden care, if I'm talking about the fact that 28 million Americans have no health insurance, that's a fact. If I'm quoting what some of the candidates say about the other candidates, I'm just repeating the news to you as I read it that day. You know what they're mad about? They want to put a big roll of masking tape over my mouth because I helped as a campaign manager for the successful part of the campaign. I helped in many ways for the president and the vice president, who were our two greatest assets, and they won that election over the other two. But I helped by being on television, by being on radio. I helped, and they want to silence me now. This is my First Amendment rights. They want to chill free speech because they don't know how to beat him at the ballot box. They were hoping that the other office of special counsel would do the job. But it's look, we're not even, and even if the Hatch Act applies, our position is I haven't violated it.
Well, and we had the president on about 10 days ago, and we asked him whether or not he was going to take the advice of the special counsel and fire you. He said, nope, you're doing your job, and it all comes down to freedom of your speech.
Well, freedom of speech, that's how we started this segment, folks. If you're telling the American people which politicians are lying to them and which policies don't work, well, you can't do that. That's not protected speech. We got to shut you up. But if you've got something that looks like the F word and you want to put it on a t-shirt, well, that's just fine, says Congress, says the Supreme Court. Now you know this country is running backwards. We'll be right back.
In 1975. If so, you may have an aluminum wire home. Aluminum wiring can be hazardous. These homes are around 50 years old now. You need more electrical power than ever imagined
Let's keep talking about free speech. Good topic. By the way, if you're a fan of free speech and you want to get active and you want to jump out there and defend free speech, I have a great thing for you to do. If you're a business owner within the sound of my voice, take out ads on KHNC. Doesn't have to be a lot of money, doesn't have to be a huge commitment for an entire year or anything, but advertise on KHNC, support my program, Real Truth, take out ads during my show, and you will support my freedom of speech to go out and scream a national megaphone about the importance of defending real free speech. And let's continue. You've heard of Project Veritas, right? They're the people who sneak the hidden cameras in to Planned Parenthood. And they recorded people who work for Planned Parenthood talking about carving up babies' bodies and selling the parts. You remember that from a couple of years ago? Yeah, I remember it too. Planned Parenthood. Now Project Veritas has done it to Google. They've been talking to secretly filming people at Google, and people at Google are talking about ways that they can work to get rid of Donald Trump, to make sure he's not reelected. This is the swamp. This is Big Brother. This is dirty pool, and it should never be tolerated. Here is Dan Bongino, the Dan Bongino radio show, or it's a podcast or something. You see him on Fox News almost every day, talking about the explosive new hidden camera video from Project Veritas. Dan, go.
All right, let's go. So, Project Veritas
Folks, it's hard to hear. I'll read it to you. She says, we all got screwed over in 2016. Now, this is a Google executive. Again, it wasn't just us. It was the people got screwed over. The news media got screwed over. Like, everybody got screwed over. So we're rapidly been like... What happened there, and how do we prevent it from happening again, she says. Now, you can watch the video yourself. I'm going to put it up on my Facebook page, Real Truth Radio. How do we, Google, prevent the American people from electing the candidate of their choice? Hey guys, let's do an experiment, shall we? Once I'm off the air, because you can't miss a minute of this show, get on your computer, your telephone, go to CNN.com, look for the story about Project Veritas and Google. See if it's there. Chances are it won't be unless you delve deeply into their newsfeed, and somewhere at the bottom you may find a paragraph or two. Probably you won't. I've not done it, so I don't know what you'll find. But my hunch is you won't find it.
The Trump situation? Ladies and gentlemen, this is an enormous story. Now, from the piece, there's another interesting quote. I can't play the whole video. It's very long, and I encourage you to watch it at Project Veritas' piece. But from inside the piece, this is another just amazingly awful quote from this woman. Quote, the report includes footage of longtime Google employee and head of responsible innovation, isn't that a title, Jen Janai saying, quote, this is the Google exec, Elizabeth Warren is saying we should break up Google. And like, I love her, but she's very misguided. Like, that will not make it better. This is a quote, by the way, all the likes. This is very Alicia Silverstone from Clueless. Like, that will not make it better, will make it worse. Because all these smaller companies who don't have the same resources that we do will be charged with preventing the next Trump situation. It's like a small company cannot do that.
So it's up to Google to keep Donald Trump from being reelected. Up to Google to tell 64 million Americans who voted for Donald Trump in 2016 that they're idiots. Up to Google to make sure that the presidency goes to the Democrat Party, which is determined to destroy this country. That's Big Brother. That's the swamp. We'll be right back. Look for this on Real Truth Radio, Facebook. All right, guys, welcome back to Real Truth. Howard Real. If you're not listening to me on the radio, if you're listening streaming, you must be at 1360khnc.com. Fantastic. You know, I copy these, I videotape the show and I put it on Facebook, on YouTube rather, so you can watch it there. and I suggest that you do and that you share it and that you talk about it. Let's talk. Tucker Carlson recently had Victor Davis Hanson on his show, talking about the fact that America is becoming a third world country. We're starting with California, because California is now a toilet, thanks to Democrat liberal policies. What else? Here's Tucker Carlson.
For generations, California symbolized everything that was fantastic.
Hang on one second. Gavin Newsom is the governor of California. He's a Democrat. Oh, is he a Democrat? He's like the stereotypical Democrat. He is so disconnected from reality. He thinks California is just doing fine, but we heard 40% of the state, 40% of Californians live in poverty. Reality check, Mr. Newsom, please resign, because you're overseeing a disaster and you're only throwing fuel on the fire. 40% in poverty, and he thinks that's just ducky.
The state disintegrates.
All right, guys, I'm going to put this video on my Facebook page too, Real Truth Radio, because we're running out of time. We're about to go to a commercial. But yes, California is the poster state, the poster boy for Democrat policies. The place is flat broke, drowning in red ink, drowning in homelessness, drowning in poverty. It's completely disgusting, and it's the result of decades of Democrat policies. Check it out yourself online. This is America in the future if we keep electing Democrats. We'll be right back, and we'll finish up right here on Real Truth.
Join us and don't miss a moment of the Health Township store, #1 source for real independent media. Find out what the mainstream media doesn't want you to know. InfoWars is pro-America, pro-family, pro-freedom. We are legally 1776. Exclusive reports, live coverage, information you won't find anywhere else. Tomorrow's news today. Stay informed by listening to KHNC 1360 AM. The Alex Jones Show on KHNC, the heart of Northern Colorado. You can find gold just about anywhere in the world from all kinds of different fields. Why do you use the Patriot Trading Group 20 years service? Just like that. 8+ rating with the better business bureau? Just like that. Right. Just like that. Remote solicitation? Just like that. Buying or selling? Just like that. For all your gold and silver needs, call the Patriot Trading at 800-951-0592. Just like that. Tax season, traffic, bills, resisting having season. I'm project to North Flat River, Trout Chambers Outfit. Hi, Brian here with Trout Chambers Outfit, 970-460-8873, or visit our website at troutchambers.com. Servicing the whole North Flat River for the Marquee Canyon. On Friday, the aggressive wind is spring, a mostly favored section of the river, 4 hours north of Denver and 1 hour west. Book a trip at troutchambers.com or call us at 970-460-8873. Very beginner friendly, approximately 8 hours on the grid boat moving down the scenic North Flat River. Prices include new season flies, all gear, lunches for 2 anglers. Call about discounts for beds for children at the age of 16.
Item from Breitbart. Salt Lake City Mayor Jackie Biskupski announced Saturday evening the city will not cooperate with federal immigration officers attempting to carry out ICE raids to enforce federal immigration laws. Unquote. I'm calling on Salt Lake City Mayor Jackie Biskupski to be arrested for failing to comply with the law, failing to follow the law, and I want her to be charged as an accomplice with any crimes that illegals commit while they are in Salt Lake City. Time to put a stop to this madness. Item also from Breitbart. Speaking of madness, former Vice President Joe Biden exaggerated his involvement in the civil rights movement during his first presidential run. Biden, who's embroiled in controversy after praising segregationists, repeatedly stressed his civil rights activism during a speech in New Hampshire in February 1987. Although portions of his remarks were proven factually inaccurate by the New York Times, few outlets have provided broader breakdown of the speech despite it being widely available on C-SPAN. Unquote. In other words, Joe Biden isn't only an idiot, he's also a liar. Item from Breitbart. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver now says the league has, quote, moved away from using the term owner because he's sensitive to the racial connotations some apply to the word, unquote. My friends, I didn't know they had people playing in the NBA who were that old. I mean, if they were slaves and they're still around, they're still alive, and they're playing basketball, they must be pretty well reserved. I'm sorry, what's that you say? There are no more slaves alive. Well, yeah, that's true, but the people in the NBA, they work for free, and they don't get any time off. They've got to play. I'm sorry, what are you saying to me? Oh, they don't work for free. You mean they get paid? I can't hear what you're saying. They're paid tens of millions of dollars a year to play basketball. And they think by calling the owner of a team an owner that they're being talked about as slaves. Okay. That makes sense. I mean, not to anyone who's attended school, but probably someone. Item from Gallup.com. Americans concern with immigration continues to be heightened as 23% name it the most important problem facing the country. It's true. It is. The other most important problem facing the country is that we have Democrats in government. Item from StanfordAdvocate.com. Senator Bernie Sanders will propose on Monday, that's today, eliminating all of the $1.6 trillion of student debt held in the United States, unquote. My friend, some of you may wonder what happens to the lenders of that $1.6 trillion. Well, if you ask a Democrat, they'll explain it to you. Let me summarize their answer. Racist! Item from Agence France-Presse. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas said Sunday he was confident the peace conference this week in Bahrain would fail. Quote, we're certain the workshop in Manama will not be successful, said Abbas, who's boycotting the U.S.-led conference focused on the Palestinian economy. The U.S. government unveiled Saturday the economic part of its peace plan that it will present in Bahrain on Tuesday and Wednesday, with the aim of raising more than $50 billion for the Palestinians and creating 1 million jobs within a decade. Unquote. My friends, I have a much cheaper solution. Why don't we simply get the Palestinians off of Jewish land? How's that sound? Too common sense? Too logical? I apologize. 23 hours from now, I'll be right here using logic and common sense. Once again, I hope you will join me. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, stay angry.